96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
The aftermath of every social revolution brings about change. Cultural norms and landmarks shift as our minds and hearts expand beyond the familiar. To everything, there is a season and a time to every purpose in the land of the living. This is our time to renew, revive, and restore the hope lost to the busyness of life. This is our time to dig again and rebuild from the storms of our past on a solid footing that holds. Welcome to The Foundation.
The Foundation.
The Foundation with Hard Grant is brought to you by Alive, Commonwealth Bank, Divinia Spices, J.S. Johnson, Marco's Pizza, Mobile Garage Technologies, and Ross Electric Motors.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Howard Grant with The Foundation right here on 96.9 FM radio. So good to have you in our company on this absolutely gorgeous Tuesday. It's not raining out there, and it's a wonderful thing that you're in the land of the living. Let's talk about it. Yesterday we got off to sort of a bumpy start in terms of this conversation that we wanted to have as it relates to the inner city. We talked about that. We talked about this kind of an idea that we wanted to talk about the inner city and the inception, what was happening during this time. We really wanted to have a conversation with Mother Pratt. We had to reschedule that. And today, the conversation with none other than one of the persons who actually really committed themselves to this and did absolutely wonderful, that we've been able to see, been one of the first persons that's registered to vote, none other than Ruby Ann Cooper Darling. She's going to be in the studio with us today. I'm really, really, truly looking forward to that conversation. But I wanted to say to you, make sure that you pick up your papers today. Before we get going, I want to thank those persons that continue to be able to sponsor the show. You heard that kind of a package at the very forefront. And just wanted to say this to you as we move towards, what's she doing? Lover's Day, right? As we move towards Valentine's Day, as we move towards this kind of a time that persons want to really be able to commune with each other and have good conversations about love and this kind of nostalgia. If you want to kind of bring that to the forefront and have persons know about what you're doing in those spaces, it makes sense you cook all that lobster. No sense you cook all them mussels, that lobster, that shrimp, that this, that, all these things that you're doing, and no one knows about it. Let's just be very clear about that. Doesn't make any sense. Not to me. So I say to you, if you want our audience, thousands, tens of thousands, right? People get scared when I tell them it's well over 60,000 people, right? Tens of thousands of persons that are listening to us on a day-to-day basis. If you want this audience, a traditional audience, with money in their cars right now, with the telephones in their hands, eager to kind of register with you, to book an appointment, to come into your space, to be able to enjoy those things with you. If you want those persons to hear about your product, please give us a call. The numbers that you can call here, 302-2300. That's 302-2300. Here at the studio, we can be able to assist you. Lovely April can be able to assist you with that. Or if you want to be able to, get me directly, 827-0111, 827-0111. You can check that information out. Make sure you can go on the Foundation 242 Facebook page. You can be able to find out more information on how they can be able to assist you with small business packages for Small Business Thursdays. We got some things going on. So I just wanted to kind of get that, what they call housekeeping in church, get that housekeeping out of the way to let you know that there are opportunities that exist here for you to be able to do your thing. Trust me, I haven't heard from you guys. What sense it is you buy all the grouper, the lobster, the steak, the ham, the turkey, I don't know what y'all is do, right? All these candles, scented candles, and the whole thing that you have set up. Right? You buy all the dry rose petals in the world, and you're looking for someone to sell these things to. The man is going to come home to shepherd needle in the bed. Talk to me. This is difficult. But you got the rose petals there, right? So let's make this thing official and kind of get that thing done for you guys. You still got some time before Valentine's Day next week. We have beautiful conversations in my mind kind of set up for you. We're going to be talking about love. We're going to talk about revival of relationships. We're going to be talking about all these things. And I really want to kind of get that done for you guys. And I'm excited about it. I really am. So I just want to do that. I wanted to read a few things out of the paper. I got this first thing this morning. Nearly 600 repatriated in January at the cost of $68,000. I don't want to get into a political conversation because I don't want that to be the prerequisite of how we approach what's going to happen. I'm waiting for my guest to be able to pop up in studio. She told me that she'd be a few seconds late, but I wanted to touch this. Can we touch this without diving deeper into it later? Can we touch it with a very clear understanding that we're still getting into a conversation with Ruby-Ann Cooper-Darling? Can we do that? Because I'd like to do that. And I'd like to talk about this reactive effect that we're seeing from this administration, that we've seen in other administrations too, but this one is very pronounced, right? I don't want to say that it's a horrible thing. It's not. We like that we're being heard as a society, as a community. I think that's one of the things that we can be able to commend this administration for. Very clearly being able to say that we hear you, right? And taking on certain positions and making pronouncements on these things. However, the swift effect would cause, in my mind, the swift effect, an approach in terms of how this government reacts to what's coming up to the social, to the society. I'm fearful that kind of a swift approach will lead the general public and those who know how to wield this activism into a position where they feel like they have the government trapped. They got the government cornered. You understand? You're still the government. You're still the administration at the helm. You still wield leadership to kind of move in a particular direction. And whilst we do expect some sort of acknowledgement to deal with these particular things, the relentless, perpetual acknowledgement and the swift reaction to these things all the time will be a disadvantage to your administration, in my personal opinion. Yeah, I mean, we're going to deal with that. We're definitely going to deal with that. We acknowledge those things that are happening socially. We're going to do these things because if you continue to be able to react the way that you are, they're going to intensify. Activists will pop out of the woods and intensify their efforts to ensure that the government does as we say, we the people. And this is not me saying that to dumb down or to kind of subside as it relates to your activism, but there needs to be a very clear balance of those that are in authority to convince us that you have this under control. That's just me. I think I need to be convinced that you have this under control. And so I want to be able to do that, right? Now, my guest has just walked into the studio. Let me give her a time to kind of settle herself and get everything done and take this first commercial break and be able to get back. Guys, you're listening to 96.9 FM radio, Howard Grant with the Foundation. We're having a great conversation today. We're going to be talking about the inner city. So that the spirit existed in those particular areas and the idea of what can happen or what should happen going forward. Like I said, I have none other than Ruby-Ann Cooper-Darling, and we're going to dive into this conversation right after this.
The foundation.
The Foundation. We'll be back right after this.
The foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
Fidelity, we're good for you. With so much going on in the world today, only accepting cash at your business can be risky. Let Fidelity offer you and your customers safety, convenience, and the flexibility of a fixed or mobile terminal. Take it with you, on the move and on the go, because business should never stop. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit us at any of our branches. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation. 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 The foundation. The foundation. The foundation. The foundation. The foundation. Foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant with the foundation right here on Guardian Radio. So happy to have you in our company, really being able to jam today. I told you that we wanted to talk a few things. Now, listen. I wanted to talk about the repatriations in the meantime, in the interim, being able to wait on our guest today. But like I said to you, I do not want to get mad political with it, but I just wanted to talk about these things. You know, we're going to have time to kind of dive into that and chop it down as time progresses. So give me some time to do that. But I want to introduce you to my guest today. Now, I want to tell you how this started. I think I started to tell you how this started. With the concept of the show, with the concept of the foundation, what I envision in this year of Jubilee, as we move towards our 50th anniversary and really being able to celebrate that time here in the country, I really wanted to identify some people who I identify as the architects, who I believe has helped with the infrastructural development of what we enjoy and what we see here in the country. And when I started to think more specifically about the inner city, one person popped up in my mind. And that initial person would have been Mother Pratt. And so I engaged in conversation with Mother Pratt, and she says, Howard, I cannot do anything with you unless you call Ruby-Ann Cooper Darling. She said, call her to find out more. And I said, oh my God, yes, why? And we went into a deeper conversation about her contribution and the efforts that she would have made in those areas. And now many of us, from a traditional standpoint, would know the contributions that she would have made. But for this next generation, Ms. Darling, I'd like you to introduce yourself to the country. I know that we know you. I know that all those persons should be familiar with you. But for the sake of those new generation persons who need to know about that commitment that you would have made of yesteryear, introduce yourself to them almost like for the first time.
To Bahamas and beyond, wherever you're listening, and thank you so much for inviting me here at Guardian Radio. And it's good to be alive.
Absolutely.
It's a wonderful day.
Absolutely.
Who am I? And to those who don't know, because the young people don't know, because the story isn't being told to them. Mm-hmm. So you cannot blame them when they said, no, I never heard of you or whatever. I'm Cooper. My late father was the Reverend R.E. Cooper Sr., social activist, orator, educator, minister of the gospel and Bible expositor, all of that. So I grew up in a church. I'm a preacher's kid. Mm-hmm. So I grew up in the church, the Black Baptist Church.
Twice on Sunday.
Twice on Sunday.
You go on a Monday
prayer meeting. Tuesdays, women's meeting. Wednesday, general worship. Thursday, another meeting.
Prayer meeting. You have to go to the practice.
Friday, Saturday, you got to go to clean up the church. Sunday, starting all over again.
My God.
Yeah. So for me, it was full, and especially since at the age of 10, I became the organist in the church, which I still am the organist in the church today.
Really? Wow.
So my life has been, I grew up in a constituency. I grew up with people who would say, yes, Rev, see, you have a captive audience on Sunday. So when you preach the gospel, it's either amen, hallelujah, or yes, Lord. But Monday, remember that congregation is a different kettle of fish. they you have to tend to their needs, their wants, it's everything, and you have to go through all sorts of ins and outs until they come back. And when we assemble again, and it's amen, praise the Lord, yes, Rev. So I grew up with that, knowing people, always involved. Freedom of speech, was able to recite and take part in Bible studies and dress. So I grew up in leadership. Came into, which really led into politics, because
I want to ask you that.
Yeah, the church leads the foundation, because in the Bible days it was the kings and the men of God that were in charge of the nations.
But let's do this, because you tell me that you're in church 7 days a week, and in our society, the structure of church and the structure of religion was designed to be able to have women not necessarily on the same par or the same level as children, but their contribution and their relentless efforts in those areas were for maintenance, were for camaraderie, was for family and get-togethers, but not necessarily for that kind of an outspoken position to stand up and speak out. You being the first woman to kind of register, tell me about where this tenacity, this determination, this idea came from for you to step up and step out and do that.
Well, remember in my first, if you were listening, I spoke about the Black Baptist Church, the Black Church,
yes,
that offers freedom. See, structured. If you're a Catholic, you can't make a move unless the Vatican knows, or through the Archbishop, and then on to Anglicans, you have to contact the Archbishop in England. The Black Baptist Church, or the church, has an autonomy and freedom. We don't need to go to anybody to say we can speak out or whatever. Mind you, you would have an order of service, but then you're free to carry that order as you see fit. So my father was...
as the Spirit leads.
As the Spirit, we had 2 or 3 are gathered together.
As the Spirit leads.
In my name,
My
touching
God.
anything, and as the Spirit leads, then heaven lends a listening ear, and as it is in heaven, so it is
On earth.
So I grew up with that. As I said, I'm organist in the church, Baptist Training Union, and in the Sunday school, and hey, it offers the full scale, like a whole 5-course meal. So whereas now these women who you think only are there, they may be messy in the jobs, let's say with the white people, and they just maids and so on and so forth. But remember, along with the church, there's a lodge. There are burial societies. And she may be messy on the job, but when she comes home and it's lodge time, she is the most worthy matron. You can't call her missy.
No.
You have to address her by her name, because she is the most worthy matron, and you have to follow law. Or if she's in the church, she's a missionary. She's the leader of the prayer band. And when the pastor isn't there, she mounts the pulpit and says, "Thus said the Lord." That's in that church, in that sphere. But you could not do that in the other churches. Like many years ago, in beating a drum for women and all like that. And I said, when it comes to these other, I call it the established churches. And I said, but they make all the tablecloths for the altar, adorn the altar with flowers, everything and thing. The tablecloth could go on the altar, but you who made the tablecloth is prohibited from going on the altar.
Wow.
So, hey, I made that tablecloth that's on the altar that you are performing and doing the Eucharist and all. You mean the tablecloth, I can't go?
Wow.
And so the church, the black churches, and then with the Pentecostal churches, and even in some of the black churches, you had to hear from Cleveland or you had to hear from this thing. But when it came really to the Baptist churches, I knows it's, hey.
It's in you.
Yeah, it's in me. So I grew up with that all through my life. Leadership. I never know myself to be in the back of nothing.
I want to know about this. You often in our conversations, you often describe the church from what I identify as political language. When you speak of the church as a constituency, which is just a body, a group of people.
Yes.
So talk to me about identifying the strength of the constituency and utilizing that strength and that sort of structure to empower what's happening socially. Because what's happening simultaneously here is that we have a church body, church life separated from what we do socially. But there was an integration there. Talk to me about this sort of an integration of identifying how we empower these people to see the country that we want to see.
Let's say growing up, let's take the Church of God of Prophecy. You will find out that when it came to housing and moving, upward mobility, you find out that they were empowered by Mr. Kelly, let's say, who had the lumberyard. So rather than you going through the mortgage corporation, this mortgage company or that, you went through the church. You had your homes built. You paid your money to the church. You came, like the Church of God of Prophecy. Even their post office was there at the church. And so people, in honesty, if you borrow, you pay. If you got a mortgage, you're obligated to pay that. So the church has been empowering, giving, sharing, little ASUs, Christmas funds like we have in our church. It's already begun. Christmas fund. Bring your money to the church. We'll save it for you. And at the end, at Christmas, you don't have to go to borrow no money to buy a fridge or a stove. So the church really, as much as people would talk against the church and say that the church hasn't done, but it had not been for the church in this country, particularly the Bahamas, there'd be no nation. The nation comes out of the church. The church is born out of families. In those days, there wasn't the assault on family life. You see, it's satanic that Satan knows that if I can start getting in with family, see, before you get to church, it's a family.
You blowing my mind. I did not, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to be a part of the conversation. I'm so happy that you're listening in today, and I'm hoping that you can be able to get these nuggets because I'm blown away by the conversation. Historically, I'm a young man. I'm going to be 42 this year. I was born in 1981. So right after the country would have moved towards independence in 73, before this sort of a fight in the 60s, the late 60s, to find the independence that we found in 73. I was born much after that. So the conversations that I heard, the ideas that I had about the independence, the liberty, the access, the opportunities that existed here, in my mind was birthed through politics. In my mind, the allegiance that the country had and continues to have towards, let's say, the PLP, was as a result of the establishment and opportunities that they were afforded back in the early days of our independence. Oh, well, you don't know what Lyndon Pinley did for me. We get a house. You don't know my first job come from this one, so forth and so on. But to sit here and have conversations about the fact that the church was an intricate part of the community, not just from the standpoint of preservation and providing spiritual structure and direction, but really help with the tangibles, loaning money, buying fridge, cars, and so forth and so on is an amazing thing. Some things have shifted over the years. The church has stepped back from that in many respects. I've seen and heard about it here and there, but I don't see that much at this particular time.
Because times have changed. It was the time when last week I wrote from Hebrews 13:1, let brotherly love. The key word is continue. There was a time.
It existed.
Yes, continue. There was a time when there was brotherly love in the church, in the lodges. Oh, the lodges were powerful. They were real structured and lent to family life. There was a time when the family that prayed together stayed together. There was a time when families went, honor thy mother and thy father. The father came in and thy father, because mostly you had women who were heading homes. It's always been that.
Yeah.
That has always been our story as far as the people are concerned. And so we were together, brotherly love continue. You know, I did a song just out of the thing and say there was a time when we lived in peace and our love. I just got to the piano and it just came. The words it came. There was a time when we lived in peace in our land. There was a time when we held each other's hands. There was a time when we lived as one. But here comes that heavy word, but.
That conjunction.
But look at us now. No peace in our land. No more holding hands. No more love. No more. Look at us now. How did we get like this? So it is, we go to the nitty-gritty and the genesis and the nucleus, the beginning.
The foundation.
The foundation.
Jesus.
And the Bible speaks about the foundation and said, if the foundation be removed, mind you, nice windows, beautiful windows, nice roof, nice door, everything. But check out the foundation. And the Bible says, look where you are building your house. You're building your house on sand. And how many times you wake up to the news, oh, a landslide came and washed away
The whole house.
The whole house. Why? Because it was on the sand. So what has happened over the years? We strayed, and the Bible speaks of this and says, you've gone a whoring after strange gods. You have left me. I brought you here. You were the last thing I made. The dog was here before you. As bad as you'll treat Brownie. The cat was here. The fish ain't trying to get in no penthouse. Still, everything in creation is at its just how God made it. But here comes man and man. And so there has to go back to how we started in the beginning. God, not man, not money, which you have, not prestige, not trying to trample on people to attain higher heights that really are unreachable to you unless you make a wall of persons to stand up to attain. So we have to go back. Legislation can't help us. It has to be in this year, 2023. It has to be go back to how, as you say, the foundation. Begin to build our lives on rock, that which is solid.
I want to talk
home
about
life.
I want to talk about that. I want to dive deeper into that. I think we had the core of it, the base of what we're going to be talking about today is really about this contrast between yesteryear and the vision that was spoken, the tenacity, that kind of determination to build, the fractions that came together to make up the collection, the collective, and move forward, upward, onward together. The Bahamas land, the Bahama land that we enjoy today. I want to talk about that. There was a vision that was cast for our country. There was a vision that was cast that mothers accepted, fathers accepted, and fed to their children when they went back home to their quarters. This idea of a greater place, that we didn't have to be in segregation and separation, subjected to this kind of a position. You can be more. And we accepted that. And we moved from year to year. But as those years progressed, we moved away and got into this sort of a safe selfishness, got into this idea of being able to get things for ourselves. Like you said, whoring after strange gods, whoring after superficiality. So the conversation I want to talk about today is that, in contrast to the vision that was cast for the country, do you think we're on course? Have we strayed away? And what do we do to get back to that space?
We have strayed. Look at the condition today. Look at what's happening. Growing up, you may hear but fight and someone pick up something and knock somebody. There weren't guns. Now and then somebody had an ice pick because we had no refrigerators, and the ice pick was really for
the ice.
For the ice. But Satan would get somebody, and that was the nearest weapon more than picking up the ice. And you had that. But as I said, it all, not that there weren't, we came the colonial government that was here, the leaders that brought us here. They took us so far. But in taking us so far as a people, there were the 3 Ds. There was decency, there was dignity, and there was decorum. We knew how to behave. We were decent. We cleaned our yards. We stayed in place and everything. Yes, they only may have taken us to grade 6, but in grade 6, the 8 parts of speech and their function, you were able to get up and from memory recite Tennyson, whoever, Shakespeare, whatever. You knew that. You knew your 12 times table. You were able to write and read your name. So you got that. That was the foundation. And based on that, you were able to build your lives so much so that those that were part of the foundation in the house on which the foundation was built, those same people only went as far as grade 6, produced doctors and lawyers and accountants and contractors and men of...
It's heavy that you say that.
Yeah.
Because for the most part, the national discourse is that what we're seeing socially, what we're seeing collectively from the nation's perspective is that our children are de-average children. And there's this kind of an idea that they can't go beyond certain spaces because of the lack of education, exposure, understanding. But you're saying to me, foundationally, they only had the base. They knew how to read, write. They knew the 3 R's, read, write, arithmetic. And knowing those 3 R's, we still had these 3 Ds that you talk about, the decency, dignity, and the decorum. What has happened since then? And that's what I want to ask you, the next step, the next question. Where have we as a society gone wrong?
I think when we left the core values of how we were, prayers, respect for motherhood, fatherhood, the village, grew up the children. You're not my child, but you're doing wrong. So I got a switch nearby, give you 2 cuts and run. And if you bad, tell your mama, I cut your skin so you could get some more beating. It was the time, as I said, when we were concerned, when we held each other's hand, when there was a love. There was a time of sharing. But as we got into getting more, bigger homes or whatever, jobs and all of that, we left the core values. We did not listen to says, you want to make it, you want to be successful. You see these 6 children you have? That's your kingdom. This is your kingdom. Daddy is the king. Mommy is the queen. Y'all are the loyal subjects. Y'all are princes and princesses. Listen to this. Train up a child. Ain't say the dog. Why, when you carry the dog to obedience school, Rover doing and sniffing you understand?
So you carry the dog to obedience school, but you ain't carry your church. You ain't train your church.
Train up a child in the way. You're grooming Fluffy, but you don't grooming the children, so you can't go out like that. Son, come back here. Dress properly. Do train up. So we fell down in training up a child in the way, in the way they should go. So when they're old, you don't have to cry through Bank Lane. You don't have to go to carry something to put on the gate and then they search you up and down. Say up and down, they search you to see what you brought. You see, we got to go back to the basic, and it all, what were we made for? But to honor God and to worship Him and be obedient and do. Look at it. Look how we change. Creation, and God said, and He said it's good. And God said it's good. And He made that, He said good. But when it came to man, listen, and this will be straight. Let us, say let us.
Let us.
Make man. Let us. This ain't but me now. See, it's about the we. But what we have done in our selfish and ways of being man and contrary to what God had put, we took the W-E, and this is all through. We've took the W-E, the we, which points up to attainment, to success, to opportunities.
And you turn it to me.
We turn that upside down.
To M-E.
And we turn that upside down. And we took the we and turned it. And so now, where it was when we were growing up, it was about we. Because of materialism and the fast dollar and, oh, we can't let our children be, we can't let our children be no farmers and masons and that's too low. They have to be this and have to be that, and they have to go to one school and go to another school and this and that. It's I won't go there. We're straight, but it is until we take the me and put it back in its original state, the foundation,
The we.
and make it the we, we'll always have problems in our country and in any land.
Wow.
As you know, the whole world is in upside down.
It truly is.
Hey, there is no place safe.
No.
And so we got to get back to basic, as you said, rightfully, back to the foundation. And you know the hymn say, the church is one. The church, one foundation. The foundation is the church. The church's one foundation is Jesus Christ, our Lord. And not that we are speaking religion, but that's what we're here for, to love. It's February, it's the love month, and what a time it is when we begin to love our brothers, love our sisters, but first of all, begin with loving yourself.
I want to talk about, before we get into there is something that I think we've fallen in love with and our relentless pursuit of is the love of money. And we know that from a biblical perspective is the root of all evil. But has this sort of serving money and pursuing this money, we know biblically that you can't serve God and mammon. Have we left God at the altar and pursued our own selfish ways to be able to enrich the me and forget about the community, the we? And if that is the case, has the church not also been perpetrators in that? and forgetting the wheat that they are continuing to talk about and going after the meat, enriching their congregation, their environment, their spaces, and not being able to go to the root of what we know from a biblical standpoint to grow the community that we envision.
Now, let's look at it. Money is good. You need money.
You need money.
When he says you have to go out in as much as you've done to the least of these, my brethren. Now, I know my daddy always said, you can't preach to a hungry man.
No.
So Jesus had a social ministry. Look at it.
Mm-hmm.
When it was time to pay Caesar his taxes, Jesus knew you had to pay Caesar. We don't have any money, but I tell you what to do. Go down by the sea, catch a fish, and look in the mouth. And so that was fishy money. But Caesar ain't looking at it to see if it's fishy money.
Or not.
Caesar say pay the tax.
Mm-hmm.
And so Jesus had a way and say we have to be obedient to Caesar, because it says render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and unto God and to Christ the things. So you have the two C's, that you can't just pay your tithes in church and then don't pay Caesar his rent. You know, I went one time when I was in charge of the government rental units, and I was there to collect the rent. And I went to a lady's house. Where is she? She's in here. She thousands and thousands of dollars. So somebody said, oh, she went someplace. She went to a revival. Say revival is here. So I left a message. I said, you tell her when she come from revival is here, Miss Darling was here too. Okay? And call me. And when she called me, I say, how you could go? And giving God thanks and praise and shouting and cartwheeling. And you owe
X amount of dollars.
how you could do that? When he says render unto Caesar. So I got them in a way, and
You get it where it hurts.
yeah, I got it, and I tell them, look here, happiness is a receipt. Bring something. And I had no more problem with them.
And she took care of that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking with none other. Listen, these are some heavy nuggets today. We're talking with none other than Ruby Ann Cooper Darling, really being able to have good conversations about the foundation of where we are and who we are as a people. I know we kind of breezed through one commercial break. But when we get back, I want you to kind of chime in and be a part of the conversation. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, or hit me up on the text, 422-4796. This is The Foundation with Howard Grant right here on 96.9 FM radio. We're going to take this commercial break, get into news, and get right back after this.
The Foundation will be back right after this.
At Popeyes, get the chicken sandwich you love, but make it blackened. Marinated in Popeyes blackened seasoning, that is. Our new juicy filet is fried to perfection without the breading, served on a toasted brioche bun. Try it today as a combo or a la carte. Don't forget to choose your level of spice today at any one of our 3 locations.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
With over 25 years in business, nothing says commitment to our people, culture, and service like Rev. And this year is no different. We will continue to elevate your home experience for you to create and share memories for years to come, while keeping you connected to the people and things you love most. Our pledge to provide quality service each year remains true. Rev is made for you.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
It's a new year, and you're super excited to start the year off right. You've made your New Year's resolutions, doing more exercising, healthier eating, saving more, making better decisions and all that. If you have information or products that encourages healthy living, promotes sound financial decisions, or even promotes a positive lifestyle, One smart decision is to advertise in the Nassau Guardian's Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise supplement. So if you're a physician, speech, massage, or physiotherapist, own a gym, nutritional deli, or restaurant, does your financial, insurance institution, or credit institution have the plan for investing wisely? Then that information should be in the Nassau Guardian's Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise supplement. One low price gives you an ad in the supplement plus 15 30-second commercials. Interviews also available on Star 106 Hits, Guardian Radio, and Hot 91. Contact your account executives or the Nassau Guardian now. Start the new year right in the Nassau Guardian's Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise supplement.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Whether your business is in-store, on the go, or both, let Fidelity work with you to maximize your customers' payment options with a fixed or mobile terminal so that you never miss a sale. It's safer than cash and more convenient so that you can take your business anywhere. For details, contact a business development officer today at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport, or visit our website at fidelitygroup.com. With so much going on in the world today, only accepting cash at your business can be risky. Let Fidelity offer you and your customers safety, convenience, and the flexibility of a fixed or mobile terminal. Take it with you, on the move and on the go, because business should never stop. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit us at any of our branches.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation. Foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. 96.9 FM radio, Guardian Radio. Howard Grant in your company, the foundation, having great conversations on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. I'm hoping that we're carrying you through your lunchtime. If you want to be a part of the conversation, you want to kind of chime in, you want to lend a question, you want to, contribute to the conversation, rather. If you want to do that, please give us a call, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, or hit us up on the text line, 422-4796. Now, listen, I got to be able to shoot straight with you. The nuggets and the gems in the interim, in the intermission, during the commercial breaks, is extremely powerful because, it continues to travel on. And the source and the wealth of knowledge that exist within Ms. Ruby-Ann Cooper-Darling is phenomenal. I must tell you that. I've asked her to come with us even more, to have this conversation with us, to really talk to us about this identity, this turning this me and being able to put it right side up and turn it back into a we, the collective cohesion and growth of the community. She actually coined it communal harmony. And I think that's an absolutely wonderful thing. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning in, you got to listen to this a little later on today, and just definitely check out GuardianTalkRadio.com, GuardianTalkRadio.com to find exactly where this conversation has led us to, if you're just tuning in. But the truth is that I am blown away because I have not said to many people, for the purposes of your desire to be able to move away from religion or move away from faith or spirituality, I have not said to many people this concept and idea of what the foundation is about. I've given you sort of the abbreviated version and this concept of just getting back to the core, just getting back to who we are as a people, getting back to these things. But today, Ms. Darling, you hit it on the head, because this vein that you speak of, normally I hear my grandmother, my grandfather, my grandmother's still with us, but my grandfather passed. Mm-hmm. Normally you hear persons from a traditional standpoint really talk about the good old days that existed in the country. And, you know, from a superficial standpoint and a tangible standpoint, you'll say, well, the days had to be good. You was only paying $2,000 for this piece of property. Now I got to pay $200,000. The days had to be good because the value that you had, the community that you had, the assistance that you had was always better. And we've lost those things. But I contend that we can be able to revive those things. I contend that we can be able to get back to this space, to move away from mammon and back to the foundation, back to God. And I wanted to put those things to you, and I wanted to talk to you more specifically on the break that we started to talk about some things. The harmony that exists for the productivity in church. As you talk, I know this. As you speak, what comes out of you that fills your heart could not have been something that you put in there. I wanted to know more about the relationship of your late father that you had. What has he done to really motivate you to keep pushing? Years after he's gone, you're still on the course, you're still on the track, you're still out here being able to push and remembering his name and putting it out into the ethos, into the environment every day. What has he done and poured into you at the inception that caused you to continue to be able to push like this?
I give God thanks that he gave to me and my siblings a wonderful gift, a precious gift. And that is the gift of parents. But as you know, God said that it wasn't good that man should be alone. Mm-hmm. And so he made a helpmate. We had a wonderful mother that played a role as a mother. Mm-hmm. Cooked for us, took care of us, groomed us, kept us clean, kept good housekeeping, manners and all like that. And then we had a father who was the king of the home, not degrading the queen, mm-hmm. and not mistreating the prince and the princesses. We grew up like it's like a kingdom. Mm-hmm. And my father was a wonderful human being, educated, disciplined, spoke well, preached. Oh, people will tell you that R.E. Cooper was a great orator. But here is it. I think being the first child, he was 10 years older than my mother. He returned home from school at the American Baptist Theological Seminary in Nashville, fully prepared for ministry. I think he wanted a son. He is Reuben. I came looking just like him. All the features my mother had. My mother was that beautiful. My mother was a beauty from Long Island, the Edgecombe and the Turnquest extraction, they that mix. And here's Reuben. So I'm Ruby. My middle name is Ann. But my father never called me Ruby.
He called you Ruby Ann.
From my birth, Ruby Ann.
He put everything together.
Ruby Ann, and I could tell when you according to the tone, whether there was emphasis or whatever, I could tell. I got marks. I was graded, whatever I was doing. But he said, Ruby Ann. And when I would know just what frame, where it was. Punishments come in. Oh, you're going to get. He took me to school when I was 2. I can always, I remembered it from then. Christmas time, don't look for no doll. Don't look for no teddy bear. If you started off with English book 1, good. You don't have to worry what next year Christmas present was. English book 2. You don't have to worry.
That's a good daddy buy the whole collection one time and break it up.
I'm only 6. I tell this story over and over. I'm only 6. the lady got him, down because he wanted someone to play the music. She wooden church and bench and Seneca police dress. And he took the spite on me and wrote on the petition, you always had chalk because he started schools and had schools. And he wrote, learn music in 90 days. My Lord, I'm only 6. I must learn music in 90 days. And listen, and he started me off and then sent me. But, I was in a class with Clement Bethel with Batch and Alison Maynard's grandmother. And so by 10, I was the organist in church. I'm still the organist in church after all those years. So my life was structured with my father. So when he would go to preach, I had to go with him because I read music. And so I grew up following him. Now let's see who my father was. There was only one party, This new thing with the PLP just came in the 50s. But when I was born in the 40s, you met the UBP. They ruled supreme. All right. So there was nothing else to be but to follow what was there, to follow rules and regulations. And so my father was, when my father spoke, the Eastern Road listened. I grew up drinking tea in Mrs. R.H. Curry's. My dad was their tutors, all of Beverly Price and those who had what to do in Nassau with the magazine. Her books, my dad, when she was through her books at QC, I got those books. If my daddy said jump on the Eastern Road, they said how high? My dad spoke and the Eastern Road listened. Our house was the first house to have a gas stove in it because why? Bobby Simnett, who was Exuma with Fecky Brown, Frederick Brown, were the MPs for
Bobby Simnett, the premier.
Yeah, his son.
His son was okay.
Who was the Speaker of the House.
Okay.
And he had Bahamas Gas, and then he brought in gas stoves, and he called my father because, Daddy was outgoing and know how to speak, and to be the salesperson for that. And, of course, the people in Blair and Eastern Road and said they don't want any stove to blow up in their house.
They were scared of it.
They're scared of it. So Daddy thought, he said, something, how could I sell a stove?
You got a hot one.
Until and I come. So Daddy said, look, you have to come. And I could remember Charlie Morse and those coming and bringing that big, the stove, the name was Real Host, and putting that big, nice white porcelain stove. And when that was lit with that blue flames, it was showtime. Our house was the showtime because everybody came to see this stove with the blue flames. And after that, and sudden nothing. So stoves like hotcake and got good commission from it.
Wow.
Yeah, so he got to the place whereby now this new party is coming out, started with.
I just was about to ask you, because if there was a relationship with him and the UBP, and them identifying him as one of the strong leading black voices in the community, this transition with him being able to be the speaker for independence. Talk to me about it. How did that happen?
Because there came a time when the Bill Cartwright and Stevenson and Taylor, who were, let's call them Conky Joes, they were in my color, heat and feeling the oppression and suppression of the UBP. And so they started the PLP and then invited, and I like that when older men would not be threatened by younger men, and that's happening a lot when the elders are threatened more so than encourage the younger ones. And I think this has caused a lot of separation and hate and whatever you, rather than embrace them into the fold. But these men saw the wisdom of embracing a young, talented, educated young man by the name of Lyndon Pindling and say, look here, son, this is as far as we could go. Now here, you take the baton and you run with it. Okay. And so now my father's coming into the social, arousing the social consciousness, and I can never forget. And I said buildings like that building on the corner of Palmetto and Ragged Island Street should really be preserved as a landmark, because they had a restaurant, they called it Majaga Restaurant by John Roll, who was a reverend. And the day that my father came and told Sir Lyndon, says, look, now, he's the leading man for Simonette and Brown, but he's getting a feeling of this new wave.
Talk to me.
He's getting a feeling of
Talk
this
to me.
new wave now that's coming on.
Talk to me.
And you can't, it can't be raining and you out in the rain and ain't no rain falling on you. You got to be affected of what's happening. So my father knowing and God using him to stir up the gift that is within him. And I can never forget the day when they said, the news got up and said, Reverend Cooper joined the PLP and told Lyndon Pinland he's going to give him twins.
My God.
Say twins.
You get twins. You got me preaching in there. Go on.
Twins for Exuma in the person Livingston Coakley. And the irony, the whole thing about it is, my father started his school, and Carlton Francis, Arlington, you named them, all of those, not Livingston Coakley, all those were in education, the board of education, fire, all of them. And my daddy took them in to Prince William's High School, and they became teachers. Daddy took all the rejects that were put out, and all of them became members of Parliament. So the day that, as I said, when they said Reverend Cooper joined the PLP, and he told Sir Lyndon Pinland, see, it's nothing when you speak, and if you speak the oracles, and you are divinely sent, not you went, but you were sent by God. Whatever comes out of your mouth and you speak must come to pass, because heaven must,
as it is in heaven,
what was spoken on earth.
As it is in heaven,
as
so shall
my
it be.
father said, I will deliver twins.
And so said,
Livingston Coakley,
so done.
George Smith.
Bye. Talk to me about that, though, because some things have changed. Some things have changed in our country, and I believe that if this spirit, even the residue, I won't call it glory, but I don't want to get preachy for people, the residues of this victory and our position that we enjoyed of yesteryear has not left our community. It's still here.
It's still here.
It's waiting to be troubled and revived. It's waiting to be remembered, to kind of get back to it, but it exists here within our young generation. And what really upsets me, for me as an individual, when I see a lot of persons up in arms about, and rightfully so, about illegal immigration or any of these issues, and not necessarily looking at the lives that are being snuffed out on the roads, I feel like we're lopsided. We're not really being able to preserve the next generation, because I feel like there's doctors, lawyers, preachers, teachers who have a testimony in them that are being snuffed out far too early. How do we get back to that? And I wanted to take that in conjunction with the fact that we have a lot of fatherlessness in the homes. We don't have community in the homes anymore. So I wanted to touch that like that.
Listen, you have to go through if you want to go to. You have to have the events. Let's look at the children, the Israelites, and the event of the wilderness. But the event, it's no time now to look at the event, because the event is never a good situation. There are troubles and tribulations, and as Amazing Grace said, through many dangers,
toils and snares.
Toils and say snares.
Snares.
Ambushes. Say ambushes and all like that. We have already come. You're going through. So what I think has happened, during the decades, let's say 4 decades or so ago, 5 decades, is that we got caught up in the whirlwind of the wilderness. God is bringing us out because, look, you could still find more than 10 righteous people. You don't mind it. They praying. You plotting, God planning. There's still righteous people here. There's still some people who are sold out to God. That you can't lure them with money or position or whatever. There's still, you're some serious praying people. And that's what has caught us and has kept us. And guess what? This is going to be a powerful year. You got to go through.
It's heavy what you're saying.
Yes, you have to go through to come to. And you've gone through, hey, we done gone the gamut. Killing, divorces, this, raping, murder, this, and hey, the night, you got to weep. And as I would say, my dear brother, and I coined this years and years ago, you crying about the event. Naomi was crying about the event, but God do her right in, throw her under the bus. But she couldn't see the eventuality.
See, go ahead. I got to write this down.
She
Go ahead.
crying, but God do her right in and call her bitter. Bitterness, God do her right in. Take her husband, take her 2 sons and leave her just like that. But she didn't see that this girl from Moab. See, you have to be careful with a stranger. And one thing with us as Bahamians, the strangers are here because of our kindness. We are not a hostile people. We ain't got a... And most people say, I like the Bahamas, say they don't know you, they don't hug you up and kiss you up and run the pantry and tell you want this and you want that. Basically,
they didn't feed you and everything.
Feed you when you're going home, give you clothes, and then borrow the money to pay you.
That's the Bahamas I know.
Had we been a hostile people, we would not have had the immigration problem we had. But we caused them to be here because of our kindness. If we were hostile to them, they couldn't land here. You understand? But guess what? It will bode well for us because only God one can lift the strangers up like the Israelites. When corn is back home, because you only move for corn. But when corn is back home, you pack your Georgie bundle.
And go.
And after the wilderness experience, you be into the promised land. It's milk, honey, and more honey. There. So we are now, as the Lord would put in my heart and as I see it, man, we're in for a good time.
This is a year of Jubilee.
Man, listen here, I feel it in my spirit. I see it. I say, Lord, this 2023, you told us if you hold on to Psalm 23 and I become your shepherd, you allow me to be your shepherd. The whole package deal in it for you. Look what I'll do for you. I won't lead you in the prickly pear and the briar patch and the ant's nest. Look what I'll do. I'll lead you beside still waters and restore your soul, give you a new soul, give you a new outlook, get you a new view on how to treat others and how to be satisfied and grateful and thankful. Look what I will do. Goodness and mercy
shall follow you.
Huh?
All the days.
Not some days.
All the days.
And you will dwell. You'll know that I am God. Every knee shall bow and every tongue confess.
You know, I love what you're saying, and I right here with you. But for those persons who are out here, who has allowed the wilderness experience to engulf their minds and has shifted their course, their focus from the purpose that they've been called to, and just seeking to kind of satisfy their existence, to satisfy themselves. How do we speak to those persons?
Well, it's only 2 things. There's no option. A lot of children are smart, yes, they graduate because there was plenty multiple answers.
That's how they graduate, they get 50%.
Well, you know.
Thank God for the multiple choice.
And then, you know, see, because you said something about remembering. You could only remember what you knew, and then you pray, God, sometimes.
Help me out, Jesus.
But the option is with God. It ain't no multiple choice. You either look and live, or don't look and die. And we are to the place now. You either turn or burn. Huh? We are now to the place when the Bible says the whole earth shall be filled with the knowledge and the glory of God as the waters cause the sea. And listen, the pandemic and all like that, everybody was praying because ain't nobody wanted to die.
No.
And the pandemic came and people became more aware of who God is and to know that, hey, this breath, ooh, wow. Say wow.
Wow. I didn't say it 4 times. I tried to be quiet about it.
So listen, look here. If you don't turn, you don't have no option. Those who drinking rum all day, won't go out and work, abandoning their children, mistreating their wives, not taking care of anything. If you don't turn, you're going to burn.
My God.
This is the year for reconciliation, repentance, renewal. If you're talking about upward, say upward.
Upward.
Say onward.
Onward.
Say forward.
Forward.
Not me one. Say
together.
Say together. Not only together, 3 together, 4 together, 10 together.
You got me preaching today. Should I touch my neighbor too?
but coming, see. I can feel his presence right here now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a story to tell to this nation that will turn their hearts to the truth. And I'll say this, where diplomacy fails, prayer prevails. It's prayer time. It's time to ask God for forgiveness, for we have sinned. Says Nebuchadnezzar looked up and realized that up above his crown was a God somewhere. And he acknowledged the God of all creation. And sanity came back to him. And he was able to renew himself. So that's where we are.
Wow.
This 2023, a wonderful year to be alive as we come up 50 years being independent. 1 Peter 2:9 said he had chosen people peculiar, different.
Wow. You did a tremendous job. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to give you an opportunity to kind of chime in. I see that lines are open. We're going to take this commercial break, though. Let me put the numbers out there and everything and read one of these texts before we get out. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, or hit me up on the text line, 422-4796. Let me read one or two of these texts before we get out of here. This is happy day to you, Howard. Loving this foundation. Please give my regards to my former teacher at PWH, Miss Rubianne Cooper Darling, at Patrice Adley Cooper. This is Long Island. Patrice Adley Cooper from Long Island.
Well, hello, Patrice, and God bless you.
She's listening in. Right, and also I want to give a happy birthday out to Ashton. We call him Baby Bruce. Happy birthday to you. And guys, if you're celebrating a birthday, if you want to be able to text, please give me a call, 422-4796. This is a Power Pack Day. And I'm hoping that, the rhythm of conversations that you hear about socially and the hot topics, that you don't dismiss the impact and what's really happening today. Take it in. Be a part of it, please. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, or hit me up on the text 422-4796. Let's take this quick commercial break and be right back after this.
Foundation.
The Foundation with Howard Grant. We'll be back right after this.
The foundation.
Here we go. J.S. Johnson. Insurance agents are the best. Reliable service with them. servicing, protecting since 1990. J.S. Johnson Insurance has the test. You're always covered with J.S. Johnson Insurance. Peace of mind.
Guardian Radio and the Foundation are on the move.
Bahamas, this one's for you.
SBT, Small Business Thursdays. Every Thursday, the Foundation with Howard Grant will highlight small businesses throughout the country, far and wide. Your products, services, prices, and personality. We want to hear it all. Get your 30 or 60-second advertisement heard on air at a fraction of the cost. We here at the Foundation understand the times and don't want you to be left behind. With Guardian Radio, you reach your specific demographic, and it is unmatched.
We reach thousands daily.
Get your products off the shelf and your services in their hearts. Small Business Thursdays with the Foundation, only on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. For more information, call 302-2300 or the Help Me Howard line at 827-0111. SBT. Small Business Thursdays. Get your business moving today.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation. The Foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant and your company, the Foundation, here having a wonderful, absolutely gorgeous conversation. I shouldn't say it like that, but I am blown away. I'm really enamored and kind of wrapped up in the conversation. And I'm saying to Ms. Darling right now, I'm sitting with Ruby Ann Cooper Darling, really being able to get into the core of where we are and where we need to go as a nation. How do we get back to the we, as opposed to this selfish perspective and this self-indulged position, the me. And so while she's talking about her father, while she's talking about the contribution that he's made, while she's talking about the importance of looking at community and giving your best to get to what we believe to be a better place, while she's sitting here talking to me about the fact that we are peculiar people and the best people in the world, which I agree with 100%. I'm doing introspection. I'm asking myself, how can I be a better father? How can I be a better husband? How can I be that father that 40 years after my passing, that my daughters, my children will continue to be able to carry on my legacy of the contribution that I made once I'm here? And I'm hoping that you're doing that same thing, really being able to find out how can we get a better version of ourselves out there. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, 422-4796. Let me take this telephone call. Calling on the line with us live. This is the Foundation. Go ahead. Go ahead, calling on the line with us live. No? Guys, please give me a call. Let me see if I can read a few of these texts. It says, Howard, shout out to Miss Darling. Tell her this is Sherman Darling and Geneva Benaby grandson. Okay? So these are the people call it, right? It says, shout out to India Wells on her birthday today and her fiance, Sheldon, tomorrow. Cheers for more years. These are people just kind of calling in. We got a next telephone caller. Calling on the line with us live. This is the Foundation. Go ahead. Go ahead, calling on with us live. I'm seeing you. Can you try another line, please? I'm seeing you. Give me a. I'm seeing it here, but I'm not seeing you. Actually, I can't get to you. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Try to give me another line. I see the blinking, and we keep hitting it, but I can't hear you. So try to give us a call again. Ms. Darling, your contribution is rich. And not to talk about it, but yesterday, and we talked about this on the phone yesterday, the article that came out that talks about the poll that favors this person or that person. Though we don't know, and though we have a very clear understanding of how the process works, with the Prime Minister identifying and sort of giving that name to the monarch and the monarch being able to take that, I can see why those names were being placed at the forefront. I could see why your name would be amongst those that have any consideration for this top position in the country, because your commitment has been relentless, and your message, your consistency in message, your stance, your position, and being able to touch the lives that you've touched is second to none. And so I can see those things, and I know that through humility you'll say, oh, let the process take, and I only want to be able to do those things. But talk to me about that. Talk to me about the legacy that is very important, not just for you, but for any who wants to contribute to our society. Your father left a rich legacy that you continue to be able to speak about. Talk about your legacy and what your expectations are in years to come, or how people would view you.
Well, I told my students, and I would tell them, I said, if you want to be a beauty queen, you have to begin now. You can't get it overnight. It is a process. First the blade, then the ear, then the full conch shall appear. It doesn't come overnight. When it comes to me as my life, as I said, this has been my whole life. I refer myself to people, and I say I'm like the ambulance. I stay on call. Let the police find out who run the red light. That's all my business. I'm there to get you some help and put on the siren. And I never think about things. I didn't even know I was in the papers until somebody called, and then I went and got a Guardian and saw about the polls. I'm here to rescue the perishing, care for the dying. It's not summon pity from sin in the grave. I have to weep o'er the erring one and lift up the fallen. And at the end, I got to tell them that Jesus is the answer, not me. Not the L-A-W, but the L-O-R-D, the Lord. And so things like that with poll and things like that. I don't go with mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all? Don't put me in that. Because I ain't got time for the mirror. I too busy. I got to wash my face fast and go because I'm on call. So things like that with the poll and who getting it. See, it's the person, it's the prime minister of the country who chooses whom he wishes to be in his cabinet, or to be here, or to be governor general, or to be whoever. It is his. And whomever he chooses, you have to go with it, and not only go with it, you have to respect it. But I don't want to be, hey, count me out. I don't want to be caught up in no poll, and I'm pole vaulted. I run in hurdling. I'm hurdling, trying to get over that next hurdle and okay, I'm not. Don't pole vault me.
But that doesn't negate the fact that you still have a tremendous, you have a great deal to offer, even as you sit here, and your ability to kind of reflect to a precise position and remember the name of the stove. I don't even know the stove name in my house right now, but you could remember the name of the stove. You could remember the blue flames, and you can be able to articulate that and give us such a visual that your contribution and capacity in any of these areas from a national standpoint would be invaluable. I just believe that. I believe that you can really be able to contribute. And so even though you're not thinking about those things, if called on in any capacity, doesn't necessarily have to be from a governor general standpoint. If called on, are you open, willing, and able to serve?
Well, at the gala that they held for me in November, I was sitting right there, and the Prime Minister said, you will be a global ambassador, special envoy for women's affairs. Haven't been sworn in yet or whatever, but I work every day. Wherever he leads, they say wherever he leads, I will follow. Whatever I'm called upon to, I will do it with all my might. I thank God, as you mentioned, for memory. As I said, I don't need a hymn book. I can remember every hymn every key it's in. You know, music, what it does, how it comforts you in times of distress, how you can go to music and it solidifies you and puts you back on the right track and all like that. And I just give God thanks for how He has kept me over these many, many decades and still being able to perform and to think and to move about. It's all because, like I said, had not the Lord been on my side, I don't think I would have been here speaking to Howard Grant.
And I really do appreciate it. I can tell you the truth. This conversation, if it doesn't do anything for you guys out there listening in terms of if you're tuning in and you're just thinking this is a casual thing, this conversation is a divine one. This conversation is an essential one to really be able to revive us in this year of Jubilee. Do not fight me. I just believe that as we move towards our 50th year, and the only reason I even have this concept is because I remember 25 years ago, I envisioned our 50th anniversary. 25 years ago, as a younger child, I envisioned what the 50th year would look like in the country. And based upon what I envisioned at that time and what I see now, we are far off course. We are far off course. I remember, I think it's the Jubilee, the Silver Jubilee that we had, and the Queen would have came down during that time. I think she was in Grand Bahama. The whole kids had to go, if you remember, the kids had to go out there. We performed for her. We did the entire thing. And all of us had conversations about what the country would be at our goal. Oh, when we get 50, I believe we can have flying cars. We're watching a lot of TV. Flying cars and all these things. But we're off course. We're seeing death and murder and decay and separation and lack of community and hopelessness creeping in and expanding significantly. How do we get back to the core of who we are as a people? And so these conversations that I'm having with you and others really kind of troubles the waters for me of how I need to contribute to the country going forward. And I'm hoping that it does that for other persons also. And that's a question I want to ask you. What do you see for the future, whether it be for the inner city, because this really was supposed to be an inner city conversation, but it turned to be much more expansive. What do you see for the country going forward? What do you see us doing, and how do we get back on course to where we need to be to find this kind of a forward, upward, onward together, the unity that has been excluded for some time? How do we get it back?
If I may, and I would call this very propitious, all the talk was about a few days ago was a balloon in the sky that they said went off course. And because it raised suspicion, it was shot down. I'm going to use the relevancy of that happening with what God is about to do. Yes, we have strayed. Like the balloon, we've crossed many miles and years and gone astray, gone into foreign lands and all like that. But God is merciful. He's not going to shoot us down. If my people, if that powerful
conjunction,
and I will call it the ifness of if my people that are called by my name will humble themselves, pray, turn from their wicked ways, seek my face. If they would do that, I think it's 4 things there. In this month of February that won't for the next 800 some years have 4 of everything. Monday, Tuesday, 4 of everything. Let's come to the forefront of what's happening in this day and age. If my people, yes, you've gone off course, but if you humble yourselves and do these things, I will forgive you. I'll wipe everything off. I'll expunge. You talk about expunge. We used to say, we race it, we rub it off. I'll go back to old school. We rub it off and
rub it out.
Yeah, rub it out. Which other way you can rub it out or whatever. I will forgive you, and I will heal your land. And I feel as if in this year of 23, if we keep on ringing the prayer bells of heaven and earnestly asking God for forgiveness and return to the God of all creation and our salvation. Look here. You know what's getting ready to happen to Bahamas? You don't see what's happening? Years ago from 82 in the Senate, he told me that the wealth of the world is going to be transferred here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Mm-hmm. The 12 tribes are getting ready to come here. This is going to be the new Mecca. Say newness.
Newness. I like it.
Say the peace summit. You're robbing and killing and things like that. Come here to the Bahamas.
For Peace Summit.
The Peace Summit. This will become the peace center of the world. And listen, only those who ascribe and honor and praise and worship the true God will be a part of this, will be partakers.
Wow.
Will be beneficiaries of what God is doing. So I ain't feeling bad. I'm happy because guess what? A new thing is ready to, you talk about new day? Man, the evening and the morning makes up a day. God only deals with evening and morning. You're dealing with tomorrow. Tomorrow is only the evening and the morning. We're in for some great times if we trust God. Yes, like that balloon. He's not going to shoot us down. He ain't going to shoot him down. We're going to repent and pray earnestly.
And come back into alignment.
Earnestly. We'll stop playing games with God. And we're going to make his house a house where you go. I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the
house of the Lord.
Not what he said, they put it into someplace else in the scripture. But let us go into the house of the Lord. Our feet shall stand within thy gates, O Jerusalem. Hey, it's a time for repentance, restoration, reconciliation. It's a grand and glorious time for us as a people.
Wow. Guys, give me a call, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, or hit me up on the text, 422-4796. Let me see if I can take a telephone call. Caller, you on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Yes, hello.
Hi, hello, good morning.
How are
good
you?
Afternoon. How you doing? All's well?
I'm a first-time caller. I don't know I'd ever be saying this, but I'm a first-time caller. I really enjoy your show.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yes, but I'm calling to speak with whom I call my mentor.
Okay.
And I have known her all of my life, and I admire this lady, and I hope I'm not out of line, but I want to congratulate. I want to congratulate her. I get this from nowhere, but I believe you're going to be our next Governor General.
My Lord.
Congratulations in order, right, Lady Rubian?
My Lord.
My Lord and my God.
Praise the Lord.
How are you?
Not bad, and thank you so much for calling. And you know, the song say, He leadeth me, and where He leads,
you will follow.
I will follow.
You know who you're talking to, right?
Almost.
Okay.
Almost.
But if there has to be a vote to be cast for the next Governor General, Lady Rubian, darling, Cuba, darling, whichever one come first, you have my vote. I have always admired you. I have always admired your mentor.
Well, we give God thanks.
Yes, we will give him thanks. And I'm thanking him for you.
Well, praise the Lord.
And
but I want you figure out yet who it is? Very good. I'm so glad I have you in suspense.
She ain't gonna call your name on the radio. She remembers.
Huh?
I don't think she can call your name on the radio.
It doesn't matter. This is just how much I respect this dear lady.
Yeah.
Ruby Ann, darling. This is Sheila.
My goodness.
You have a beautiful day.
Peace and love.
Okay, love.
Thank you, Miss Sheila. I appreciate your telephone call. Let me see if I can be able to read one or two of these texts that's coming through. I see your telephone calls. Guys, please call 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. We got a few minutes before we get out of here. Ruby Ann Darling taught me the national anthem at Jordan Princeville when it was first written, right? It says, let me see if I can read this text, right? Howard, we mix up, Christians here will say that the Jews in Israel are the chosen people and we are the Gentiles. But then they love quoting, if my people who are called by my name. Howard, the wilderness is to purge the slave master's ways. Please understand that we have not gone to the wilderness yet. We still serve the God of our oppressor, and that is the truth. One day, a Joshua generation must end our servitude to this evil colonial system. Wake up, Howard. So this is a text that actually came through. A lot of persons would be able to talk about. Of course,
everybody has their opinions, and we thank God for freedom of speech and expression.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me take a next telephone call. Caller, you're on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mr. Howard, and good afternoon to Madam Reverend. You call her Reverend Ruby Ann Cooper, darling.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Woman of God you have there.
Yes.
Mr. Howard.
Yes.
And I too admire her. And I would like for you to continue to bring on persons like her who can tell the history from whence we have come.
Yes.
I think we as a people have lost our way, and we need to know and be reminded on who we are and whose we are.
Yes.
We are a royal people, a peculiar nation, and God is the Lord of our country. And we must continue to put Him first and keep Him first. We must repent as a people, and we must cry out to God to have mercy upon us and to not cause us to lose who we are and lose what we have here. He's given us one country. We must move this country forward, upward, onward together. And it calls for each of us to go back into those communities. I don't call it inner city. I call it over the hill. I'm a proud product of over the hill. And we must do the cleanup of the environment, and above all else, do the cleanup of the minds.
Yes.
Set our people free.
Yes.
And empower them and let them know greatness is within you. Rise up, woman. Rise up, man, and take your rightful place in this Bahamas.
Yes.
Amen.
One people united in love and service. We can't forsake God. God of our weary years. God of our silent tears. We must not forget. Don't be drunk with that wine of the world. You forget thee. Don't forget the God of our years. Thank you so much, and God bless.
Thank you so very kindly. And these few minutes, we got a couple of minutes left. I want to thank the persons that continue to be able to sponsor the show for contribution. And if you want to be able to hear more of these and more conversations like this, that's one of the ideas that I had in terms of getting back to the core of who we are. Identifying yesteryear, identifying some of the architects, identifying the passion that existed, and really being able to provide that and engage them in conversation. I'd like you to kind of give me a call, because I need sponsorship to be able to make this happen. So if you want to be able to be a sponsor, you want to be a part of the show, you want to be able to contribute in terms of conversation, please give me a call, 827-0111, 827-0111. You'll get Howard directly with that. Or you can give us a call here at 302-2300, 302-2300. Ms. Ruby Ann Cooper, darling, I want to thank you so much. You have been astonishing. You have been amazing. You have really been able to you touch the core of what the concept and idea of this show is, and I want to invite you back. Whenever you want to come back, trust me, you have a platform here. You're invited to be able to sit with me. You can take the show over if that's what you desire, because I think it needs to be said during this time, and I really believe that you have something to say, and it's never left your voice, and I believe that you can reach far and wide with what you say. I'm going to give you a few minutes to kind of wrap up. I get about a minute before we can get out of here.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, and it's just a joy. It's this is not a good thing, but this is a God thing.
Yes,
happening here today, and I'm going to pray to God for you that your show would be enriched by those who support it will be blessed.
Yes,
in many, many ways, and this is what we need, because guess what? You are the Bahamas, and those in your age group and those who are coming up to serve, you will be responsible for serving the present age. That is your calling, and you must fulfill it. So I bless your will. I bless those who would support this work and know that God is indeed in charge. Doesn't matter. And no matter what you're going through, the relevancy of the word is, no matter what you're going through, it is your wilderness experience. And if you trust God, He will bring you into your promised land.
Ladies and gentlemen, that has been the show today. It's 2:00. I thank you so very kindly for tuning in today. It was a wonderful show. I thank you for your contributions. Thank you for your warm text. Thank you for just your outpouring. This is 96.9 FM Radio. Howard Grant in your company with the foundation. Please stick and stay for Shivago Lang with Z Live right after this. Have a great day, guys. You see you tomorrow, Godspear.
Foundation.